But before we get started, I just wanted to show you a few things in case you missed them on my page. Last week we were finishing up our little ducky, and I did end up putting legs on him, and I did put him in a pond. So if you didn't see the picture of him, there he is. I put some little water over his feet, and I think he just turned out really cute. So that was the last project we did, and I did put up a video that wasn't alive on how I did the pond. So if you want to see how I did that, you can go back and watch that on my page. That shouldn't disappear because I just uploaded it as a video. And then I've been working on a new class, and I thought I was done and was going to get it all edited. And then I decided I wanted to do one more thing to, well, it's not to this one, it's another pumpkin. But if you saw this over on my other page, I did like a little fall painting onto a pumpkin. And those of you who are in my membership group may know what I'm going to do, so don't tell. But I'm going to do another pumpkin with something else on it, and I'm going to record that. So then you'll get like 2 videos for the price of 1. So hopefully next week I will have that ready to go for that. So I made the pumpkin this afternoon while I was sitting here waiting to go live. So I just have to put on it what I want to put on it. So Sheila, don't tell. So anyway, let me get you moved down here and we will get started with what we're going to make today. I am not going to show you a picture. I'm just going to get started here. For what you will need for the first part is you're going to need some core wool. Hi Tony, welcome. And you are going to need some white. I have a bright white here. That's not the greatest, but so we're going to need that. You're going to need just a little bit of black. And then I also have a little bit of pink. So that's for the first part. I'm not going to show you what you're going to need for the second part until we get started with that. So, hey Lynn, welcome. Okay, so you know what it is, Sheila. Lynn probably might too, but so what we're going to do first is I'm just going to roll up my core here, and I want the bottom to be bigger than the top. You could technically make this in 2 sections, like make 2 balls, but we're going to try it this way and see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a little bit extra down here. This is going to be my bottom, so I'm going to roll a little bit more down here. And right now all I'm doing, I am being sneaky. I'm going to make the bottom flat because I want it to sit. So I'm going to make the bottom flat, so you can see just by my poking my needle horizontally into the wool here, that gets me a flat bottom. You could turn it this way too. I find it's easier to protect the fingers if I do it in this direction. And you may see me moving it off to the side periodically because I'm just checking the size on my my pattern here. Nope, we are not making a Santa. I'm going to roll some more. Now because I added more over here, that'll get my shape going in the direction that I want it to go. No, the color of the mat should give you a clue of the holiday that we are working towards. I had to change the mat, cut my felt piece on here because the other one was getting pretty coated, and working with white, I didn't want to have that messed up. So now I'm going to start to round the top here because we need to make a head. So when you want to round something, you want to move your needle in the direction that you want it to go. So so you can see how my needle is going. That's how I'm going to poke my wool, and it will go in that direction. Is everybody else hot like we are here? A sheep in a Santa suit. You're funny, Tony. No sheep. Although I do need to make a bunch of sheep, but not today. I need you to come up with my ideas, Tony. And so you can see how the top is getting rounded. I'm just tucking it to my pattern. So my pattern is a bit bigger. It's quite a bit bigger than that. So we need to increase the size here. Let me get some more core. And what I want to do is I want it to get quite a bit bigger. So I'm going to spread this out here. And I actually want it to get bigger up here at the top as well. So I could go smaller, but how fun is that? And actually you'll see why when we get to the second part of this, why a little bit bigger will work better. I'm keeping, when I rolled it, I kept it like pretty much even with the bottom here, so I don't have a whole lot of extra across the bottom. I am using my 36 needle since we're just starting here. It's the bigger needle. It's the biggest one that I use. I think there are bigger ones, but that's the biggest one that I tend to use. I will probably switch to my multi-tool here soon, just to make it go a little faster. All right, so we need to get that rounded part again. A giant candy corn. You know, I had actually had some pictures that I printed off of candy corns that were kind of cute, but that's not what we're doing today. They had faces. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to kind of make a head here. So I want this to indent a little bit. So I'm just going to mark where I want that to be. I'm going to add a little bit more to the head and build up the body just a little bit. But I want it to be a pretty smooth transition between the head and the body. Yes, you are correct, Donna. We are doing a ghost, but a ghost with a twist. Just kind of comparing it to my picture here. I'm going to build up the base a little bit more. So I hope everybody is staying cool. A sheep ghost eating candy corn dressed as a Santa. Oh my goodness. Do you write books, Tony? Because you really should. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more to the head. I'm going to kind of bring it up a little bit more because I want to add a little bit more to the top. So you can see it's kind of going over that. Okay, I'm liking that a bit better here. So it's gonna, just a little bit of an indent there. I'm gonna switch over to my, make sure I got the right ones here, my 238s, and just work on firming this up and getting the shape that we want. This will get a little bit bigger when we put our top coat on. If any of you know who has bright white in a bat or carded roving form, let me know. I need to get some more. Every time I order a white, it ends up not being very bright. It ends up being like the coral wool here, which is white, but not super white. I'm pretty sure Lion Gate carries it, but the last time I ordered it, I think I ordered the wrong stuff because it wasn't very bright. And doing my pump, my ghost here, I need quite a bit of it, and then I'm doing a tiger in my membership group, so I need some white for that. So if you're new to needle felting, when you're poking your needles in, you want to go straight in and straight out. You don't want to push your needle in and bend it. You want to go straight in and straight out. Otherwise you risk breaking your needles. And don't feel like you need to go fast. I've been doing this for over 5 years, so I can go pretty quickly. But if you're new, take your time. Get the feel of the needle and the wool. Thanks, Sheila. He's coming. Hopefully he'll continue. compare him. He's still a bit smaller than my pattern, but I think he'll work. Well, it could be a she, I guess. I don't know why I tend to make a lot of my creatures hymns. Also, a lot of shaping is done with your hands, so don't be afraid to, use your hands to kind of manipulate the wool into whatever shape you're looking for. All right, this is like, the sides are like really straight down, so I'm going to add a thin layer. No, he's not a chipmunk anymore. You're correct there. I'm going to add a thin layer like right around the middle of the body here, because I want to kind of make it rounded. And I think I might do that with another layer as well. I want his body to have a little pooch to it. Needle felting is just building, adding wool to get the shape that you want. And you do that by adding the wool, but also the direction of your needle. Creates those shapes as well. If you're new to felting, you're going to find, if you're using a core wool, you're going to find that there'll be vegetative matter in there. It's usually like just hay or grass seed or stuff like that. I don't tend to pick it out unless it's like a really big piece. I will pick it out of my top coat if I find it in there. A lot of times your carded rovings will still have bits of stuff in there. Combed doesn't usually, occasionally you'll find it with a combed piece, but your carded you tend to have more in it. And then I'll pick it out if it's going to be like really noticeable, but this core wool has a lot of really long strands in it, and the first time that I've gotten core wool from Cupid Falls Farms that is like that. So you can see now, instead of having a straight body, it's kind of rounded a little bit. So that's kind of what I was looking for. Let's see if he stands. Yeah, he's a little wobbly, so let's flatten the bottom. That's better. Okay. Let's see. I really want to go a little bit bigger. I probably should have made my pattern just a little bit smaller, but we're going to put one more layer of the core on, and then we're going to cover it with our top coat. Just going to spread this out. We're going to this up in it. Just going to go around and give it a quick attach. It does look like a Weeble. You're right there. My sister used to have those things. I like the Fisher-Price Little People, but my sister had those Weebles. She's like 6 years younger than I am, so. I'm just gonna roll this across the top. I did a ghost video a couple of years ago, which is over on my YouTube channel. It's probably one of my most watched videos over there. And I was trying to come up with a new ghost design, and everything I kept getting was the same. So when this guy came up, I'm like, yep, we're going to do this one. And it's kind of funny because Connie actually made a similar suggestion on last week's live. And I was like, you know what? I have something I already printed off that's very similar to that. So it's like, we're going to do that. And I don't know why, but is making me crave a cannoli. Okay. Not sure why either. Doesn't look like any cannolis I've ever seen. But anyway, one of you suggested a dog, a little cartoonish dog with a ball last week. And that may be coming in a week or two, depending on how far we get with this. I did come up with a couple cute little ideas for that, so that will be in a week or two. Unless I change my mind before then. All right, I think that's better. Cannolis. There is one pizza place that we go to, I don't know, probably like once every couple months, that has really good cannolis. Now you got me craving them. Thanks a lot. A big fat overstuffed one. Oh. Thank you for entertaining us, Tony. I've never made it before. I've seen like you can do like the cannoli dip. I've been tempted to do that. There's a grocery store around here. It's not local to me. It's probably 45 minutes away, but they sell pretty good cannolis, but they also sell the cannoli as a chip form with a dip. Okay, I think that's gonna work. I'm not gonna get it totally firm. We'll put the top coat on and then we'll get it more firm. Yeah, empty shells. All right, put that away. I'm gonna get my white out. Get that out of the way. And hopefully I don't use all this up because I will need it next week for my tiger. All right, so we are going to start to wrap this white. I like to get it just loosely attached to start and then go around and firm it all up. Of course, when you're doing white on white, sometimes it's hard to see where you've actually covered. Let's see here. I like using these bats for top coats because they make it nice and easy to cover your project. Thing is, I found that you don't get quite as many colors for some reason. Hello, Zelina. Welcome. How are things over in your neck of the woods? And of course, white picks up every stray piece of fiber that's not white. I need a little bit more for the top. Alright, just looking to see if I got it pretty much covered. I think I do. And let's see. I have 240 spirals in here, but I might need to use my 38s first. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do the 38s first. It's getting a little hard to go in. You'll notice a lot of people ask, when do you switch needles? And it all goes by feel. I will work the bigger needle until I find that it's going in kind of hard, and then I'll switch down to a smaller needle. We do it for time. We make it farther than I thought we would. And if you find as you're felting that your needles are just going in and not really doing anything, then that means your needle is too small and you want to go up a size or two sometimes. You are going to want this to be pretty firm for the next part that we're going to do. So all I'm doing here is just getting that top coat attached, not really working on smoothing it out yet. We'll do that with the 40 spiral needles. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. What's everybody working on? Either needle felting or not needle felting. Alright, I'm going to switch to 40 spiral now. So if you look at this, you can see like it's all bumpy, and those are like all little air pockets that we want to get smoothed out. So when you're ready to start smoothing out your project, you're just going to go back and forth with your smaller needles. And you can see I'm not going straight in and out. I'm at a 45-degree angle. So you just go back and forth. You could use a single needle. You don't necessarily have to have the multi-tool. So I don't know if you can see the difference between what I did and over here. And you have to go over it a couple times. So you just want to get a nice smooth surface. The nice thing about using a bat like this is you can get it pretty smooth. Some different fibers, it's harder to get a really smooth surface. It doesn't really bother me if they're a little fuzzy. That doesn't normally bother me much. It's the nature of the wool, but I know some people don't like it. And you can trim it with scissors or just felt it longer. Are y'all still with me? Got a thumbs up, I guess so. Oh good, Lynn's still here. Sometimes the comments stop and you wonder, is anybody still there? I know I always get the comment, we're just very enthralled in watching you. So I'm going to switch to the other side here, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go back and forth. This is what takes the longest when you're needle felting. Donna's working on a pelican. Ooh, cool. Hey there, Shari. We are making a little ghost with a twist. And the twist is a surprise, so you'll have to stay tuned to see what that is. Or bribe Connie to tell you. Sometimes I find doing the 2 needles, it'll get a little hard to do before you actually get a nice smooth surface, so sometimes you just have to knock down to just 1 needle. I do tend to like to go over it all with 1 needle. You can also take it and just kind of rub it in your hands, and that'll help to smooth it as well. So I'm just going to go over it. I don't know how well you can see with the camera, but just by going over it with a single needle, you'll get an even smoother surface. Donnie, you'll have to show me your pelican when you get it done. I haven't done a pelican yet. Did a flamingo. Kind of want to focus on making sure this bottom part is really nice and firm for what we're going to do in the second part of our little ghosty here. Resist fall projects, since it's only the middle of August. But I know you gotta do them now, or before you know it, it'll be Christmas projects. And I need to figure out what I am making my family members for Christmas. So I'm not making them 2 weeks before Christmas like I was last year. All right. I'm probably going to go over him off camera before next week, depending on how far we get today, just to get him a little bit more smooth. But I think we can move on with our plans here. So we need to give him a face. So what I like to do is I just like to turn it and see what area looks the best for what I want to do. So I'm looking for where I want his face to go and what we're going to do down below. And I think I like this right here. And we're going to give him wool eyes, but you could do glass eyes. And His eyes are going to be fairly far apart. I'm just using a disappearing ink pen here just to get an idea of where I want his eyes to go. They're going to be bigger than this. I'm just kind of marking, get an idea of where I want them to be placed. Oh no, P! Gotta watch that nap. Right, I'm actually going to felt this a little bit more here where his eyes are going to be. So I want this to be nice and firm. Hope you had a good one. Hi, Edith. You are hearing my parakeet, Sunny. Well, you might be hearing the birds outside too, because I do have windows open, but more than likely you're hearing my parakeet, Sunny. She thinks during my lives are when she needs to do her chattering. Alright, so now I'm going to use my bigger needle here. Going to kind of poke in where those eyes are going to be. I'm using my 38 triangle here to get an indent. It's looking like a an owl. Yes, you'll have to go back and watch the replay. Let's see if they're far enough apart. I think they'll be all right. Okay, I'll get my black. So anytime you're making two of something, you want to do it at the same time. So since we're doing eyes, I want to do both eyes at the same time. And what you want to do is you want to get two pieces that are about the same size. So to figure that, it takes a little practice to figure that out. But if you kind of roll it between your fingers to start the felting process, and you can pop them down and look at them. And I can see right now that this one's bigger than this one. And I'm going to add more to this one because I do want them to be a bit on the large side. So I'm just going to add a little bit more wool to that one. I'm going to roll them again. So anytime you're doing eyes or you're doing ears or anything like that, do them at the same time. Don't do like I used to do. Do one eye, get it done really lovely and perfect, and then go to do the next eye, and you can't get it anywhere near the same size as the first eye. So even if you're like doing colored eyes, go back and forth between the two of them. It's just a little bit easier to do them at the same time. All right, so now they're pretty much closer to the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to put it in that little hole there. And I kind of want them big and maybe not perfectly round. Maybe a little more oval shape. So I'm going to do the one, and I'm going to come over and do the other one. And I'm attaching them around the base of the eye. How about some more? He is looking a little marshmallowy. So I'm just going to go back and forth between the two of them and get them to be about the same shape. If they're not, it's okay. And I'm just tucking in around the base of it. We'll flatten the top out once I'm happy with the shape. Northern Ireland. That's really cool. I would love to visit Ireland someday. Sunny's being a bit on the noisy side today. Spooky already. Well, hopefully not too spooky. It's supposed to look more cute than spooky. I don't do spooky. I don't really do Halloween either, but I like cute things for Halloween. Okay, so I think we're pretty close to the same size. I'm going to flatten the eyes down a bit. And my dog is going to start whining. She's wanted to go out like every hour on the hour today. And she was out barking at nothing the last time she was out. He's looking like an owl. If you're, it's like, I'm finding this one's a little bit bigger than this one, so what I can do is I can very gently push my wool out a little bit from the inside. And that'll make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go around this a little bit. It's a little loose. Because when I put his little mouth on, I don't want it to get lost in the wool. Okay, I'm going to give little white dots into the eyes. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get 2 little whites and do the same thing as we did with the black. Roll it in our fingers. You can usually tell just by feeling if they're the same size. I think those are pretty close. This one might be a little bit smaller, but we'll go with it. And we're going to put the dots towards the top of the eye. You want it to be bigger than the final dot, because if you make it too small to start with, you're going to lose it as you're poking it in. Remember to work them at the same time. And the more you poke it in, the smaller it'll get, so. Anybody have fun plans for the weekend? We went to the beach on Tuesday. I think Cubby wants to see a movie tomorrow, but I have no idea which one. Well, hello there, Mavis. That's okay. You can go back and watch the replay. Okay, I can go a little bit smaller, I think. It's looking very owlish. And we gotta give him a little smile. So I'm taking a really thin piece of black here. A little bit longer than I want it to be. And I'm gonna make his smile like right up close to his eyes. So I'm gonna figure out where I want it to go. And I'm using my 38. I think I'm going to go up a little bit more than that. We're going to hold it right across. Super feltologist. I wonder if that's a word, feltologist. So I'm just poking it in the center there to hold it. And then I'm going to very slowly give it a little smile. Can do any kind of smile you want. Can make a lopsided smile. Now, depending on how much extra wool you have, you can either poke the rest of it in, like there's not very much over on this side. So if I just keep kind of poking the middle, it'll come in. I can drag it over. This side there's a bit more, so I'm gonna trim some of that off. I'm not going to trim it right at the end there. I'm going to trim it beyond the end. And then work it in. If you find that it's too thin on one side, you can always add a little bit more. And then if you have any extra floating around, just give them a trim. Just working his mouth, getting it shaped the way I want it to be. Where are we for time? Ooh, I think we're going to get done what I wanted to get done. And now he needs a little pink for his cheeks. So I just have a very light pink here. I'm going to roll a very loose ball because I don't want it to be like the eyes were, you know, pretty intense. I want them to be soft. You could also, if you didn't want to use wool, if you had like some makeup, you could put a little makeup on there. I like to use sometimes some chalk pastels. You could do that. I'm going to actually pull this up just a little bit. So it's just under the eyes. Thank you. Okay. I add a little more pink to this side. It's a little thinner than the other side, but I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so we are at the perfect stopping point. So you're going to have to come back next week to see what I'm going to add to him to make him a little bit different from your normal ghost. I think he'll turn out pretty cute. I will go, before next week, I will go over it all one more time with my 40 spiral, because I really want this bottom part to be really nice and hard before we do the next part. So, but if you make one, feel free to share on my page. I would love to see to this point, and then come back next week and join me. And we will finish him up next week. We should be able to finish him next week with no problem. But if you want to know what colors you're going to need, if you're going to join me next week, thank you, Tony, you too. You're going to need some oranges and some greens and some browns. So if you're felting along with me, those are the colors that you're going to need for next week. So thank you, Zelina, you too. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back next Thursday, same time, same place. So have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining me.